Two of the most iconic voices in golf are back to save the day and ready to entertain Kostis and McCord. Off their rockers.
Welcome back to another episode of Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers, a golf production. We've got a great show for you today. Peter and Gary are here to talk about what's going on in the PGA Tour. A couple weeks ago, we spoke about the tour shrinking in exemptions on the tour for players. Well, there's also shrinking revenue, but there's someone who's not suffering from that. We'll also take you behind the scenes to a little photo shoot the guys were doing for Golf Magazine, their January-February issue. We're at the beautiful Grayhawk Golf Club in Scottsdale, Arizona. Got the McDowell Mountains right behind us. And Peter and Gary are here. And guys, let's start out with it's an end of the year show. We're getting numbers from tax returns from the PGA Tour. And they were talking about it's less than $2 billion of revenue, but someone's not suffering from that $2 billion of revenue, are they, Peter?
No. The commissioner, Jay Monahan, is raking in the cash, as they say. It's a good job if you can get it.
According to reports.
According to reports, yes.
Yeah.
According to reports on their IRS filings. So I got to assume that it's pretty good. But he's reported all in.
Yep.
I think he's around 1.8 million base salary.
Okay.
But all in bonuses and retirement packages and all that stuff, $23 million for year 2023. Now,
wow.
What does that mean? What does that 23 million mean? Mm-hmm. The entire Corn Ferry Tour purses for the entire year, for those guys busting their asses trying to get on the PGA Tour is 22 million.
Ooh.
So he's getting paid more than what they're playing for the entire year on the Corn Ferry Tour.
Every purse.
In my opinion, Gary, we're seeing this rift starting to happen between the haves and the have-nots. The top 50 players versus everybody else, the reduction in exempt positions, the whole thing. And the have-nots are starting to get a little pissed off. They're starting to realize that, you know what, they're being taken advantage of by a whole bunch of people, not the least of which is Commissioner Jay Monahan.
Yeah, I can only, when you go through this, I can only report the stuff that happened a long time ago to instigate this. And I remember sitting there in a meeting again, back I was on the board from 83 to 87, I think. And I remember going through, there was 8 or 10 board members at that time. And we're going through, what does the commissioner make? Okay. Where are the rules and regulations? Who appoints that?
Yeah.
Who sets up that criteria? And the criteria was, I remember, there was one guy who was a lawyer, and I'm pretty sure he's out of New York City. And he was the lawyer that did every commissioner in all the sports. And he took the value of what that commissioner was doing for that sport and how big that sport was as far as revenue, and then attached the salary to it. And because we had no clue at that point what we were going to give Dean Beeman as the commissioner of golf at that point, because the tour just started. It's just started the marketing programs and everything else. So we had all this data, but we didn't have any criteria to say, all right, here's what you should get. I would like to see that lawyer now take a look at our commissioner and what he purportedly made and see his reaction to that.
According to reports, Roger Goodell obviously makes the most of any commissioner. Justifiable, because the NFL is a behemoth of its own.
Yeah, $20 billion of revenue, the NFL.
Yeah, and so he makes somewhere between $60-70 million last reported.
Good job.
That's okay. Fine.
I like that.
But according to reports, the next highest paid commissioner is Jay Monahan. He's over baseball, over the NBA, over the NHL, over hockey. He's
over Adam Silver in NBA basketball.
More than twice as much. Adam Silver's at $10 million, reportedly.
So the blame here, okay, I don't blame the commissioner
No.
for trying to get all he
No.
can get.
No.
That's what everybody should be doing.
Right.
But the board of directors
No question.
that signs off on this,
Yes. Yes.
I don't know how many of them are still left on the board.
We don't know really anything who is running this whole show. And I'm pretty sure that the commissioner's tenure contract wise is up at 25.
Yeah.
So there's so much juxtapositioning now because the players want to take the tour over and run it. Okay.
Yeah.
They had business people there. They had 4 of them. And that were on the board and giving direction as they should, because they operate and own businesses. And now the tour players are running it, which to me means their agents are running it, because all these guys on the board, they're reading a lot of stuff and they're trying to figure out how to high 4-iron into a back right pin position on the 71st hole. So they're torn between running it and trying to get better at what they're doing. It's an interesting dynamic that we have now with the transition of the tour trying to get to be a big business and tour players running it. I find that I'm skeptical on that happening.
So every great golf course that I've been to, and we've been to a bunch of them, basically every single one of them is run by a benevolent dictator. One person in charge.
Autocratic.
The key word is benevolent.
Yes.
Right? And whether it's, I'm not even going to name golf courses, but benevolent dictators, they tend to stay the course with their golf course. They have a vision, and that vision is maintained. Do you know the definition of a camel?
What's the definition of a camel, a dromedary?
It's a horse designed by a committee.
Uh-huh.
That's what we're going to end up with on the PGA Tour, with a committee of players running the show. It's going to be ugly. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no,
okay? I just don't see them coming together for the good of the game, for the good of the PGA Tour. They're going to be in it for give me that, give me this, and
well, there's where your separation starts. You're going to again the have-nots and the haves. The haves are now trying to run the whole process, and the haves are going to make decisions as to the haves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And the have-nots are not going to have a vote in this whole process. We've gone through that. We've done that before. Now it's going to be interesting to see the play on the have-nots and looking at this situation that they're getting into of the reduction of the tour across the board. And the rich and the haves are getting more and the have-nots are getting less. So there's going to be a collision. It's going to be a collision. It'll be a violent collision too. I don't know who's going to head it up, but it's going to be very interesting. Again, the tour is no longer about golf. It's about the politics thereof, and it's a sad deal because everybody's chasing the dollar, and everything that comes out is about the dollar, and we're in a sport that doesn't solicit a lot of revenue streams coming in because of the value of the product on television.
Well, and again, Monahan's salary to me is a microcosm of the big picture that's in trouble right now. Since in the last 2 or 3 years, the game of golf professionally has been fractured.
Yes.
We're minus a whole bunch of big name players on the PGA Tour. They've gone to LIV.
Mm-hmm.
LIV and the PGA Tour are trying to come together. 2.5 years they haven't been able to do it. There's no sign they're going to do it coming up. So the fracture of the state of the game, the money that they're playing for right now has turned people off because they don't feel it's merited. The no cuts, the signature events, whatever. And then you got a commissioner who's overseeing all of this chaos, and his revenue, his salary has gone up 25% in a year, from 18 million to 23 million. So
tell everybody his base contract.
1.8 is as near as I can figure out, roughly. And so there's bonuses, there's retirement packages, there's this, there's that. It comes up to $23 million. And people are going to get turned off by that. they're already getting turned off by how much money the haves are playing for. And as a consequence, the have-nots don't have a say, and they're going to unionize sooner or later. I would think sooner rather than later. And we're going to end up with this chaotic PGA Tour situation. Meanwhile, the commissioner rides off into the sunset with his bonuses.
Yeah, and it's so chaotic right now because we're at this, as you said, Peter, 2.5 years. The LIV PGA Tour thing has not been settled. We saw Yasser and Trump meeting. We heard that Monahan met with Trump. He's trying to get the DOJ involved. We've got this TGL Tigers League starting up very soon. We've got everything shrinking. We got the Golf Channel, looks like it's going to be auctioned off to somebody. It's a mess right now.
And here's a very interesting scenario that we have talked about prior to. That now they are hinting that LIV is going to participate in the DP World Tour, meaning they're going to try to buy tournaments or the whole thing, which we proposed 3 years ago. Why didn't they do that then?
One of our first episodes we did.
Because of world ranking points. So if LIV then buys the DP Tour, and I think there's 44 events, they are going to get world ranking points. Okay, immediately they get world ranking points. So now they can exist separately by themselves and within the big picture of tournament golf around the world. And that's a whole different direction as far as any merger. If I'm them, there's no reason to merge if you're going to go buy your way into world ranking points and have your own tour and basically run it as you see how to run it without merging with the PGA Tour, because they got all the players that they want. There's probably a couple of more. They're talking about Finau and they're talking about Victor Hovland. There's too much chatter that tells me that's not going to happen. There's way too much chatter. So I think that we're going to have two tours, and they're going to be independent. And I don't know if that's a bad thing. I really don't know if that's a bad thing. So the question I
have for you, there are a lot of rumors floating about that the commissioner, his reign is up in 25, right?
Yes,
so their
contract's
up.
up.
They're talking about he's going to be replaced. 25 is going to be his last year. I pose to you, Mr. McCord, who replaces him?
Joe Ogilvy. Joe Ogilvy played the tour for a number of years. He was appointed to the board. He's in the finance business. Smart kid. Again, if you look at the synergy, what they're trying to get tour players to run it. Well, they better get a tour player that knows what he's doing as far as business and so forth. And Joe, I've talked to him a bunch about this at tournaments, different tournaments, not PGA Tour events, but member guest kind of things. And he's a smart kid, and there's a reason they appointed him to the board. They appointed Tiger to the board. I get scared, Peter, with players trying to run it, and as you know, the players again are trying to hit high cut 4-irons, and they're agents. So I'm going to go to my agent and go, what do you think on this? Here, read this. Would you go read this stuff? Tell me what you think. Joe would he would create his own path, and again, smart kid from Duke. And you asked the question. That's who I would put there.
Does he have the gravitas to stand up to a Tiger?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I mean, I just think Tiger fancies himself the de facto commissioner right now, which means Mark Steinberg is basically in his ear telling him what to do.
If you're going to be commissioner, you're commissioner 24/7. You're not out hitting golf balls and playing in playing in your own tournaments and playing in father-son tournaments. You're commissioner. You've got decisions to make. I don't see anybody on that board. They're all qualified, very good players, smart guys. But their job is to hit golf balls, not run a big multi-billion-dollar industry. And I wouldn't put the onus on them to do that. I wouldn't put the onus on them to do that efficiently. I think somebody from the outside's got to take over, and he's got to be a commanding with an ego that's, right up there, because he's fighting players, really best players in the world.
Yeah.
And as you know, they all have egos,
Yeah.
and they all think that their direction is the right direction. So it's a very interesting dynamic. And again, I think the past player situation is the key to that whole job. And whether it's Tiger, whether it's Joe, whether it's whomever, I would just, if you asked me my vote, that would be my vote.
Peter, what would you think? What would the PGA Tour change to if Tiger was the commissioner and Mark Steinberg, in essence?
I have no freaking idea. None, zero, zip, nada. I do know that it would definitely favor the elite players.
Sure.
Everything they're going to do is going to be designed around the best 50 players or thereabouts. But I have no idea. I mean, we're in such a state of chaos right now. It's mind-boggling. There's players like Hudson Swafford who wants to get back on the PGA Tour off of LIV. He can't do it. There's no path back for him. There's players on the PGA Tour who are rumored to be leaving again for LIV. That's going to happen again. We got the PIF fund possibly buying the DP World Tour. We got the Ryder Cup coming up. We got no idea who's going to play, who's not going to play, who's paying fines, who's not paying fines. I mean, this is utter chaos in professional golf right now. And the sad part is, they're all saying they're doing this for the fans, but they're not, because the fans are fed up.
Totally fed up.
They have no interest. I mean, I can't tell you the number of people that I've talked to who said, you know what, I don't want to watch that. First of all, they're not the best players in the world, because they're all over the place now.
Right.
So secondarily, I'd rather go play golf than watch it.
Yeah, and that's what seems is happening. We're hearing some great comments from a lot of our viewers. We appreciate them. Please put them below so Peter and Gary can talk to them about a future episode. Since this is our last episode of 2024, crystal balls come out. Gary, what do you think? What's your biggest story that you think could happen in 2025 in golf?
The biggest story, and again, there's a sequence of events that follows. The commissioner, Monahan, will run out his tenure. Someone's going to take over. And in that takeover, there's going to be optimism. Okay, where, and you got to find out where that optimism, where is it? It's LIV, and the whole thing is LIV versus the PGA Tour. That's it. Everything else resides around that. So are they going to get together, or are they going to exist apart?
And you say they will?
And I think they will exist apart. From what we're hearing, that they're going to go by the DP World Tour, a tour that's already there. They already get world ranking points. They can exist. Again, we talked about this a long time ago. Why didn't they do that in the first place? And they go get their, let's say, 20 events that they're going to play in there, and then they go, and now these guys get world ranking points, so they can literally go and play in the majors, and they can do what they want to do in these big tournaments. They get world ranking points. So you got two tours. Now, is that bad? I don't know if that's bad, because as I see it, and if you're trying to market this and you're trying to get your TV ratings up, nothing better than have two distinct entities that hate each other.
AFL,
and they
NFL,
hate each other. I mean, look at the Ryder Cup. Those guys necessarily don't hate each other. They're neighbors in Florida, but that particular week they get pissed off at each other and go to tirades and so forth. So what if we had that as a constant, and you would have these guys playing against each other, LIV against them, and this tour and this, there's benefits to it, and we need to open our eyes and see how this whole television thing works, because the tour's not going to exist without television. Again, our television contract goes from 2022 to 2030. The tour is making, and what we've heard on the books and looked at, $730 million a year off that. That's substantial. And now with the ratings down across the board at 20%, how you look at ratings is a whole different deal now. But let's say it's down 20%. Are those people that are sponsoring the tour now, that corporate sponsors, are they going to be more involved or less involved after what's going on in 2030 and up? It'd be interesting to see all the different platforms that are coming about. Yeah. And if we exist in a world tour, and you're trying to do the television, and you've got a tournament going on in Hong Kong, and you're trying to get that thing to where the United States is going to view that.
Not tape delay.
It doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work without without reduction of rights fees and so forth. So the whole thing is interesting. And again, I look at it. We're a rowboat out in the ocean with no oars. We're just going to sail around out there, and I don't see the direction. We're going to find out the direction next year.
Yeah. Prediction for 2025, Peter Kostis.
I predict there will be a resolution to the whole LIV PGA Tour conflict in 2025. It'll be resolved. It'll not go on any longer past 2025.
Sometime in the year it's going to happen.
Sometime in the year there'll be a resolution. What that resolution is going to be remains open, but there will be a resolution. I also see a change in TV production, and I think the tour has built this huge studio production facility, whatever the hell you want to call it, in Ponte Vedra, and I think the networks are going to try and cut costs. They have to.
They're doing already.
So they're going to. That's going to be involved. The PGA Tour could conceivably buy Golf Channel in 2025, or at least start negotiations, right?
Yeah.
So, and I also think that, look, there's a bunch of reasons why we are where we are right now in professional golf, not the least of which is the PGA Tour's desire to have a monopoly on professional golf. They want it to be the end-all be-all of professional golf. That's going to go away in 2025. They're going to have to learn to exist in an ecosystem that includes more worldwide golf, whether that's LIV or DP World Tour or whatever the case may be. And eventually we're going to have to try and, we've said it 100 times, we could have solved this problem 2 years ago.
You guys did.
Because what we said needed to happen is probably what's going to happen now. 2 competing tours, one that's going to be everywhere but America, and one that's states-based, or at least North America-based. And off we go. We compete. Players go where they want to go. A lot of the foreign players who go to college here, develop their golf games and whatnot, and then naturally gravitate to the PGA Tour because of the quality of the courses and the purses and all that stuff. You can't make that assumption anymore.
Right. Right.
If the purses go up on the European Tour and they get to play in their home countries, in Scandinavia or South America or Europe or wherever the case may be, they may want to elect to go and play the other tour. But there will definitely be a resolution. Book it. You heard it here first in 2025.
Well, we've got our predictions from Peter and Gary, but don't go away. When we come back, we've got a great Coach Kostis tip that's going to help your game, and a little behind the scenes of Peter and Gary's photo shoot with Golf Magazine for their January-February issue. Kostis and McCord, Off Their Rockers, a golf production. We'll be right back. If you love Kostis and McCord's Off Their Rockers, you're going to love one of the best deals you can find in golf. An Inside Golf membership from the team at golf.com. When you sign up today, you'll get instant access to a free year of Golf Magazine, a $20 gift card to Fairway Jockey, 1 dozen Strixon Z-Star XV golf balls. They're great. I'm playing them now. They're really good. And many, many more discounts on Golf Logics, True Spec, and Fairway Jockey products that will take your game to the next level. As an Inside Golf member, you'll have exclusive access to one-of-a-kind golf experiences like the one Gary, Peter, and I attended right before the U.S. Open at Pinehurst. Participants got to meet Peter, Gary, hang out, have dinner, have a drink,
and a very special fireside chat at Donald Ross's historic cottage. If you want in on all these incredible offers and special access, sign up for Inside Golf today for the low price of just $39.99. Visit golf.com/subscription or click that link below for more information. Visit our website, CostisMcCord.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or podcast, and follow us on social media at Kostis McCord Off Their Rockers.
Hello, friends. It's Jim Nance of CBS Sports, and I urge you to like and subscribe my brothers, Kostis and McCord, Off Their Rockers right now. You'll enjoy it.
Now it's time for Coach Kostis. Peter gives us some great tips to help our games.
People love looking at their golf swing on video. They like checking out positions and making sure the club face is there or the shaft is there or whatever. They get so enamored with the positions that they forget about the flow and the rhythm and the artistry of their golf swing. And trust me, the flow of your golf swing, the effort level of your golf swing, the rhythm of your golf swing is every bit as important, if not more so, than the positions you put the club in. So how do we practice something so nebulous, so abstract as rhythm? Well, here's what iPhones were made for. You think they're made for calling home, but they're not. They're made to have a metronome app, and I've got this set on my tempo. Now for me, the first click is the takeaway. The second click is impact. That's critically important for me because when I get a little quick up here, I can immediately sense that I am out of sync. Plus, when you practice with this metronome enough, everything you do transforms itself into the clicks. So as I walk in, it's click, click, waggle, click, waggle, click. I'm always in motion. I'm always picking up the rhythm of the metronome so that when I walk in here and get ready to hit it, doesn't make any difference if it's a half swing, full swing, wedge, driver. My setting is 58 on the metronome. You need to find out what your setting is, but when you make bigger, longer swings, it's still the same clicking. Metronome on your iPhone, one of the best apps you can get to help you with the rhythm of your golf swing.
Peter's tips really help my game. I know they help yours. We appreciate all your comments. And remember, you can watch dozens and dozens of Peter's tips and some deep dive into golf instructions right here at Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers. Don't go away, because when we come back, we've got a little behind the scenes video of the making of the photo shoot of Peter and Gary with Golf Magazine right here on Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers.
Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers, a golf production, is brought to you in partnership with Golf Magazine and Golf.com. Peter Kostis and Gary McCord give their one-of-a-kind perspective featuring no filters takes, irreverent humor, and unparalleled understanding of the game. You can subscribe to Off Their Rockers for free on our YouTube channel or wherever you listen to podcasts. Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers is made possible by the generous support of sponsors, including Foresight Sports, with the #1 launch monitor on the PGA Tour, the Quad Pro, and their amazing simulators. Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers isn't just a copycat golf podcast. It breaks the mold, offering premium video and audio content that entertains, educates, and connects. With Peter and Gary's friends like Jim Nance, David Faraday, and more, behind-the-scenes stories and instruction, making each episode an adventure for those who live and breathe golf. On Off Their Rockers, the future is bold, the banter is sharp, and the fairways are limitless. We hope you enjoy Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers, a golf production.
We're behind the scenes at Grayhawk Golf Club in Scottsdale, Arizona. Peter and Gary right now are taking us some still photos for the January-February issue of Golf Magazine, golf.com. We've got the still photographers going here.
So now it's.
We got Peter and Gary.
Where are you going with this? Just inside right.
How many still photography shoots over the years? Do you have any clue how many you guys have done?
A lot. I'm 103, he's 104. So we've done at least 70 years of doing this.
Does it ever get not boring and monotonous?
It's a pain in the ass. It's like I was telling him, it's like you think you're done, but you're not done. It's like your wife telling you 5 times to do the same thing over and over and over again. Pretty soon, you've had enough.
You have, well, we always talk about with video production, stand around and wait is the thing here, and still is the same, except you don't get to do as much. We're waiting for a new setup. We're gonna have to change clothes again. We'll go out on the back of the range.
Here's one interesting one. I remember doing this, just as he's saying it. Doral, August.
Oh.
Got it? So here was the deal. They were timing when the airplanes were going over. They were in 17-second intervals. I'm sitting there, it's 102 degrees. Okay, humidity is beyond belief. You are sweating like a son of a bitch. Guy'd come over and he'd stuff 3 towels down my shirt. Okay?
Keep it
Stuck
dry.
down, he was right there. And then they go, okay, go! And you'd have to go pull it out. They'd pull the stuff out and you go da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And 17 seconds later, vroom, airplane right over the top of you, couldn't hear anything. Did that for 4.5 straight hours.
Wow.
I've never, that's when you mentioned how long you've been doing it, that was enough. I don't ever want to do that again, ever.
I've been doing the video shoots with you guys for over 20 years, but I've been doing it for over 30 years. One of the worst places, and I've shot at Doral, it's like that every, I don't know what it is, right down the street here at Kierland, because Scottsdale Airport is a busy private. I think it's 45 seconds. I shot something with Mike LeBove down there, and we had to go, okay, and go. And then
Time it.
Yeah, because it's loud as heck. But anyway, well, we're enjoying Grayhawk. It's a beautiful December morning here in Scottsdale. And
Be enjoying it more if I was out playing.
that's true. Me too.
It'll be later.
Maybe later.
We have
In the golf cart, on the range, jumping around Grayhawk from one location to the next, Peter and Gary posed for thousands of photos just to get a few for the big Golf Magazine feature article. Yes, Peter does help Gary with his swing from time to time. The guys would much rather be playing than modeling. Overall, I think the shoot and the feature turned out great.
Hope you enjoyed this episode of Kostis and McCord Off Their Rockers, a golf production. We really appreciate your comments. Peter and Gary love seeing the comments, love hearing from you. We really want to know what you want to see in 2025. Who do you want to see interviewed? Do you want to see the guys playing more golf? Let us know, and make sure to subscribe and share with your golfing friends. And don't forget to hit that notification button right below so you never miss an episode. For Peter and Gary, I'm Mike Abram, your co-host and producer. Thanks again for watching. Have a great 2025 right here on Kostis and McCord, Off Their Rockers.